Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for someone born under the sign of Pisces in the year of the ox. Now this is the second of this series that I'm doing. Only another 142 to go. But this is just like any general reading rules apply. You know, if I'm talking about somebody else within the reading, which is unlikely but may happen, then roles can be reversed. I might be talking about them and it's actually you and vice versa. Timing is hardly absolute with tarot and divination. I'm looking at summer, the retrograde season, the eclipse season, summer 2020, before all the astrology turns more dramatic again towards the end of the year, like we've just come out of, all over again apparently. Now, time is not really real anyway, so whenever you come to this reading, it can be useful for you. And as I say, I've got another 142 to go, but watch your sun, watch your moon, watch your rising, as and when is appropriate. And there's a link down in the description for a free birth chart if you don't know what your rising sign or your moon sign is. But if you're looking at something as technical as this, then I suppose you already do. Now there's also a link down there to a Facebook group for this channel. I post all of these videos obviously, but also the astrology videos that I watch and I'm learning from, the odd documentary, other readers sometimes when there's a really interesting reading or general reading that comes out. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh yes, no it's not. Ask a question. What I'd like you to do is, before you start watching the reading, is take a moment, just think about all of the questions that are around you and focus on one of them. The idea is energy in, energy out. You focusing gives me the energy to give you the energy back as the reading. That's how it's supposed to work. But the cards will answer whatever they please. So be aware of all of the questions, because their priorities are not our priorities, and is so often the case. Spirit's priorities is not often our priorities either. So hopefully this will be useful for you. I've been inspired to do this for ages, but I had to wait until I had just the right decks to use. So let me bring up the cards and I'll explain what's going on in this reading. Now, you'll notice all of these are on decks of cards, basically one card from each of these, and that's all the way to here to the corner, and then some tarot over. Now, so what we have, oh yeah, and there's Pisces Ox. So the challenge that, well, the one thing that I see you will be facing over this summer, it's almost like you're going to be looking inwardly and mastering your emotions in the face of curious distractions of things that you really want, whether they are real or not, and mastering your emotions but coming to terms with those emotions. We have covering the entire reading, the Angel of Reconciliation. Let me be fully reconciled with what I have left behind. Now bear in mind, we're not talking about a relationship reconciliation here. We're talking about being reconciled with something. And if you have left something behind, you can reconcile with the fact that it is left behind. And you can go, okay, it's not there anymore. That's fine. It was great while it lasted, but it's not there anymore. Because there is some form of loss. Some form of sudden surprise. The Eight of Forces is a card that does indicate loss. I mean, I always see it more as a bolt from the blue. But I feel that if there is a loss, it opens up some strange doorways for you. Now, when I was shuffling these cards, which is 3 oracle decks, these 3 oracle decks all piled into one, I've been wanting to put these together for an age. There was, when I was looking at the Archontic God Force, as in those, that energy trying to divide you from your divine purpose, keep you from your higher self, keep you trapped in the 3D stroke 4D, you know, keep you feeding the control entities, if that's what floats your boat. We had Shilin-Agig with Gateways, Eos with New Beginnings, and 2 other cards all come out for the I was like, no, too many cards. Certainly in this spread, too many cards. But beware of new directions over this summer when it's more a case of housekeeping, because what challenges you is the fact that that harvest will be slow, that abundance will be slow, that the power of Venus in your life, remember Venus can be just as much about value and about money as it is about love, that too will be slow, which figures it's still Venus retrograde while doing this reading. As I was corrected on another reading, I'd said it was in Taurus and it's in Gemini. But there's anything that you are starting that is new, there will be slow progress. There will be progress. I can see that here in the tarot. There is definitely progress, but it will be slow. Where you will benefit from, we have Guinevere here from the Mists of Avalon Oracle. Now, she's very much about bring love into everything, yes. And the first love being love for yourself, because how do you love anybody else if you don't know how to love yourself properly? How are you any good for anybody else if you do not know how to look after yourself properly? But there's also, she is the beloved of King Arthur. And right underneath her from the Wisdom of the House of Night, we have the Lust card. Great looking card. But it's it warns against lusting after something, obviously, to a point that really is bordering on the obsessive or bordering on the destructive. So it's something that you really have got to calm back on, because there is some form of wish fulfillment coming. But I do want to say at the minute, be very, very careful what you're wishing for. I feel that your role is far more to be still. This is what hexagram number 52, I forget the name of it. I'll have to look that up again. But it is basically mountain below mountain, where the 2 mountains together form a sanctuary for you to rest and to heal and to just isolate yourself a little while. Now that figures when we have Dion Fortune straight after. This is the Saints and Mystics Oracle, which is a great set, just been released. So I'm still learning my way through it. Having said that, can't see where I've put the book. Now, Dion Fortune teaches us, well, magic, for if you know anything about her, but self-control, about diving into the intensity of emotion, feeling it, processing it, getting rid, and not being overwhelmed by it. She brings psychic insight as well, and the best psychic insight that you can receive is in a place of peace, where you have the ears to listen. This is followed up by the verse from the Tao Te Ching I've pulled as well. So this is almost like, yes, like a lot of people at the moment over this year, it is an initiation time. But this is definitely a mail in your coursework or email in your coursework. You are working from home. You are not going to lectures. You are not doing practicals with people. You are working from home, which I suppose suits the times, really, doesn't it? Now, Dion Fortune, So emotionally, she overpowers self-sabotage and suppressed feelings and burdens, releasing emotional anchors rooted deeply within the heart. She urges you to work with your emotions and not let them consume you, like I was saying earlier. Now, on a spiritual level, she heightens psychic abilities and advances up metaphysical development. She teaches us to harness and tap into one's own personal energetic force at will, enabling power to become self-sufficient psychically and spiritually. She's an exceptional teacher in psychic self-defense. Yes, read her book, Psychic Self-Defense. It's superb. And can appear in dreams, channeling her essence to share secrets and mysteries from beyond the veil. Now, I've long had a fascination with Dion Fortune, long before I even really knew who she was, because I found a book at a car boot sale when I was 10, I think, and then started a long love affair. So to have her appear in what is in effect my reading, I'm a Pisces Ox, double water as well, then this is an immense blessing. But it's definitely a message to go within, because the unknown is coming. There's going to be something, and it's towards the end of the tarot here, there's going to be something that makes you go, what? Whoa. And what I feel is that you have to be fit to receive that unknown thing. You have to be ready to receive that lightning bolt. Yeah, there might be a loss in there. I don't really get the loss thing, but to make room for something new, there has to be a loss. So maybe there's going to be two lightning bolts. One where you suddenly go, oh my God, I've had this emotional issue, and then you work on it, and then boom, the unknown comes in. You know, even if the unknown doesn't come in at the end of this, the work on the emotional issue will be great. But that Eight of Forces does feel really, really, really strong. But I'm going to go now to the Archontic God Force that's suppressing it. Let's go for this one. Baba Yaga with authenticity. Now, in ancient legends, pre-Christian legends, she would be the adversary of the hero or heroine, but more in a trickster god or goddess way, as in she would be encouraging them, she would be presenting them with challenges to make them better. She would be presenting them with the right challenge to make them overcome, well, whatever, to develop the skills to overcome whatever challenge she placed in front of them. But with this being the force that is against you, I do get that feeling more of the shadow side of her, but also that not every challenge that you encounter needs to be faced, because you are looking for that moment of respite. There's certain challenges that come up where you could just go, yep, I'm not engaging, because that is not part of the path I'm working on. I've got my own work going on, thank you very much, and I don't need to be adding. I know to look after myself, I need to love myself, and that does not involve taking on board this. Let's have a look what the shadow side of Baba Yaga was. Yes, a character of becoming too rigid, becoming disruption and a blockage, and only inspiring fear, where we can maybe not be flexible enough to face what is coming. And you're going to have to be flexible with Pontus here and the Hanged Man right at the end of the reading. But as I say, all this progress will be slow, and I do feel that slow is better, because there is a new beginning growing in here. Well, look, we've got the Ace of Pentacles here as the new beginning. Right. So there's some form of wish fulfillment turns up, whatever that means. Which is great, clarified by the Sun card, the Happy Happy Joy card. You know, Joy, sorry. Sorry, I lost one of my joys there. But that immediately calls you to level up. But this is something that you need to do slowly and carefully to make sure that you do it right and that the leveling up is done in a correct and orderly fashion. Because as soon as you really start moving, you start moving slowly, but there is conflict. Which it may well be mental conflict about your new path, but it may well be conflicts that, as in there is challenges that are in front of you that are rigid and unmoving and are predatory. Remember in the later versions of Baba Yaga, going round in a hut that travels on chicken legs, giant chicken legs I might add, and I think doesn't she steal children? Isn't she another child-eating witch in the later legends, the post-Christian legends? But again, the challenges that come up seem irrelevant. Whereas sometimes with the Five of Wands, I can feel like it's people sparring. Sometimes on one of my Five of Wands, there's someone manipulating and directing the action. Here, it just seems like a lot of noise and a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about, going on and on and on, and they're all shouting at one another and they're all arguing and they don't know what they're talking about. But moving through this, you can manifest what you are after. Bear in mind, you've had wish fulfillment here. Now you're manifesting as the King of Wands, but be very, very careful what it is. The fact that you can, what was it? I think a Humberside policeman said, the fact that you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And I feel that's the same here with this King of Moths card. Because don't be attracted to the shiny lights, because that way lies death. Don't put your faith in all the options that are put in front of you. Create one option yourself and concentrate on it. That is where your harvest is, but your harvest will be late. Remember, your harvest is working against you, or no, not against you. It's a challenge to you over this summer period, or over the period of this reading coming. Now, this harvest is seen as is clarified with the Five of Pentacles, which does enforce that sense of loss. But the other thing with the Five of Pentacles is 5 is a number of freedom, it's a number of magic, it's a number of challenge. And with the Five of Pentacles, there is the guiding influence. Now, who's to say on these two that they're going past the church light because that's the direction they came to the church, and they're going round the corner and into the door where they can receive sanctuary? Because I don't feel, although there is that obvious statement of lack, I don't feel particularly bad about it. I feel like they're hurrying along on a mission and they're going to get into the warm anytime soon, and there is a guiding light looking after them. But it might not necessarily appear like that. So like I say, be careful what you're manifesting. Be careful what options you take. All of the options, when you start manifesting, the best thing you can do is not manifest. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because some of the things that you want aren't good for you, and you need to make sure that you are looking after yourself correctly. So you need to make sure that you have taken shelter and respite and are not overwhelmed by the force of your own emotions, which will include the desperate need within this lust card. Because we have from the Angelarium Tiferet, beauty, the 6th emanation of the Tree of Life. Now Tiferet is the one Sephiroth that keeps all the other Sephiroth in balance. And it does that. The Angelarium writes it beautifully. Oops, that's my books knocked over. The temperate force that allows the rest of the emanations to coexist in beautiful harmony. Yeah, we did that bit. It is without extremes or absolutes, as each aspect rages against him. Because if you think about Chesed and Geburah, and now I've forgotten the rest of my Kabbalistic knowledge, which is a long time since I was learning about the Tree of Life, but they are opposing forces. Tiferet is there in the middle. As each other aspect rages around him, he neither yields nor resists. He is the equilibrium that exists between those forces. He is the guiding hand that braces against the many aspects of the tree to gracefully bring them toward one another. He defines the pillar of balance, the pillar right down the middle. And I've knocked some more over. So there's that whole emphasis here on stillness and silence and going through your own emotional baggage and hopefully losing it. Not losing it as in, but losing the emotional baggage. Because right at the very end, we have the Hanged Man. But I love this Hanged Man out of this steampunk tarot. It's absolutely beautiful because time itself is upside down. There's runes that are scattered around that are giving messages. You have got messages coming. You have some wish fulfillment coming, but save some of that energy. Store your manifestation energy, because not everything is quite as it seems, and the situations that you are in over this summer period, over the retrograde and eclipse season, and remember, we've got 6 eclipses this year, so in the summer you're hit by at least 3 or 4 of them. 4, I think. You know, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, and each of those is going to have its own effects. It's going to bring the unknown into your sphere, and not all of those unknown things are good. Not all of them are bad either. But remember, gateways and new beginnings fell out as part of the challenge cards. So you don't really need to go anywhere other than within for the time being, because when it's almost like time comes to a standstill for you and everything's got really confusing, then all of a sudden you go, that's where I'm going. And there's probably the power of Neptune, which is in Pisces at the moment, isn't it? If I remember correctly. Yes, it is. Then you've got the power of Neptune surging ahead. Now remember, Neptune can be illusions and delusions, but it's also mysticism and spirituality. It is feeling and seeing and perceiving all the various energy fields of whatever, you know, from the etheric bodies to the ether of chaos magic theory to the new sphere, to conceptual energies, to fine ley lines, meridians, you know, subtle anatomy energies, and everything in between, you know, all the way from the elemental gnomes to the alien Palladians, you know, this that's something that needs to be enhanced, and you need to be in a fit state to interpret that information. And that's why Dion Fortune is here. Like I say, read her book. I think I'm probably going to advertise her book every time this card comes up. All of her books, actually. Maybe not the fiction ones, but the ones she ordered, like Psychic Self-Defense, and I forget what the first book of hers was I read. I've forgotten the title. But there's you need to make sure that, to sound all hippie woo-woo, I need to make sure my channels are clear, you know, and that's where you're heading into. So first, there's no real yeah, there's the odd challenge and there's distractions. That's what Baba Yaga is bringing to you. But you must make sure that you are not rigid in the way that you are dealing with them. I've always done it this way. This is where my skill is. Because your skills are being upgraded. There's a level up occurring. And that means that you're at the start of a new level. So a start means you're back at the ace, needing to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. You know, so that means that you go from a point of expertise to a newbie because you're all of a sudden at this new level that you have not been at before. And this is why you have to be reconciled with everything that you've left behind, because you do not want to be dragged back down to your previous level, whatever that means. Oh, this is a very great awakening symbolism, actually, isn't it? Now, but there is joy coming here. Like I say, that initial wish fulfillment, whatever it is, save some of that energy. But I drew some a spell card from this Making Magic set. And you got the festival. Creates an energetic blueprint for a fantastic party or event. And I think you are getting ready for a party in your soul. You know, Guinevere will add to that impetus. But what I really like from this is the whole idea of creating the energetic blueprint. That is what you are doing. That is what you are shaping. Now I'm going to finish this. I think I've done all of the cards. I'm going to finish this with verse 68 of the Tao Te Ching, non-fighting. The perfect warrior does not flaunt his bravery. The perfect fighter does not get angry. The perfect winner does not reveal his tactics. The perfect employer is humble before his employees. This is called the virtue of non-fighting. This is called the ability to manage others. This is called uniting with the law of heaven. Since ancient times, it has been the highest goal. So whatever these distractions that Baba Yaga brings in for you, you don't need to fight them. You need to not even retreat, but just stand your ground and hold a still, silent place. Whereas Pisces rats, they're off out campaigning. They're going, they're fighting, they're arguing, they're taking a stand, and they are channeling their anger. Pisces ox, not so much. You have a look at that anger and go, yep, I don't need that anymore. That's something that I can lack. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Pisces ox, please do comment down below, especially if you've managed to get right through to the end of the video, eh? Press the like and subscribe button while you're passing. I'd be very grateful. It helps the video, it helps the channel, it definitely helps the channel. And contact me through the Facebook group or Twitter or Tumblr. The details are all down below. If you want a personal reading, your monthlies will be out soon. And then I suppose your new moon readings will be coming out, but I'm going to be doing other sorts of readings as well. But also tell me if you like this style of reading, because I do intend to do some more of these Western Chinese amalgam readings. All right, cheers.